On February 28th at 0300 hours, the sky over Tehran lit up. But here's what most people don't understand. By the time the first blast echoed across the city, the battle for the sky was already over, because hours earlier, radar screens inside Iran's air defense network had started to flicker, then glitch, then disappear, and somewhere above the darkness, flying without afterburners, without contrails, without warning, two aircraft were already in position. The F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Lightning II. They weren't reacting. They weren't escorting bombers. They were shaping the battlefield. And today, we're going to answer one key question. Did the bombs win this fight? Or did stealth make it impossible to fight back in the first place? By the end of this video, you'll understand why the real story of February 28th isn't about explosions. It's about what happened in the invisible hours before sunrise. The board was set weeks earlier before a single missile launched. The geometry was already in place. Think back to late January. The USS Abraham Lincoln moved quietly into the northern Arabian Sea. Transponders off. Minimal noise. 2 weeks later, the USS Gerald R. Ford appeared in the eastern Mediterranean. Now picture that map. 2 carrier strike groups. Surface combatants. Submarines below the surface. This wasn't signaling. This was positioning. Then the airframes began to move. F-22s staged through the UK. F-35s reinforced regional bases. Heavy airlifters like the C-5 Galaxy and C-17 Globemaster III flew constant supply missions. But the real tell, the tankers. When KC-46 Pegasus and KC-135 Stratotanker deploy quietly and land under darkness, that's not a headline move. That's preparation for sustained, high-tempo combat. By February 26th, diplomatic talks had stalled. 48 hours later, the sky turned orange. But the operation didn't begin at 0300. It began weeks earlier. The invisible first strike. Now imagine you're an Iranian air defense commander that morning. Your radar picture is unstable. Communications are degraded. Electronic noise is flooding your systems. You don't yet see the aircraft causing it. That's where the F-22 changes everything. Operating high above 50,000 feet, capable of cruising supersonic without afterburner, the Raptor isn't just a fighter. It's air dominance. Air superiority today isn't about dramatic dogfights. It's about something simpler. First look. First shot. No warning. If an interceptor attempts to launch, it's detected long before it detects anything in return. Meanwhile, below that umbrella, the F-35 works differently. Where the Raptor controls the sky, the Lightning fractures the ground. The F-35 isn't just stealthy. It fuses sensors, collects signals, maps threats, and shares that data instantly across the network. When a radar site goes dark, that information doesn't stay in one cockpit. It spreads to other aircraft, to ships at sea, to command centers far away. This is what modern warfare looks like. Not separate units. One connected organism. The system, not the strike. Here's where things get interesting. People still call them fighters. In 2026, that word is outdated. They're flying data nodes. During the strike, everything was connected. Carrier-based electronic warfare aircraft added controlled electronic noise. Cruise missiles followed pre-planned digital corridors. Drones distracted and absorbed attention. When stealth aircraft cleared a path, heavier strike aircraft like the F-15E Strike Eagle followed through corridors that had already been sanitized. This is the key shift from older wars. In 1991's Operation Desert Storm, air defenses were suppressed in waves. Today, suppression and destruction can happen at the same time, sometimes by the same aircraft. Instead of stages, it's synchronization. Instead of chaos, it's compression. Time is compressed. Decision cycles shrink. Resistance struggles to organize. So again, we ask, did the bombs win? Or did the architecture make resistance nearly impossible? The human factor. Now let's pause, because none of this runs on autopilot. Hours before 300, maintainers were turning wrenches in freezing air. Stealth coatings had to be perfect. Sensors calibrated. Fuel lines checked. These aircraft are extraordinary in the sky. They are demanding on the ground. Every sortie depends on crew chiefs who sign off on that jet. Then come the pilots. Imagine climbing into that cockpit knowing your job isn't just to fly. Your job is to control the first hour of war. F-35 pilots manage sensor fusion, electronic warfare inputs, targeting decisions. F-22 pilots maintained the air shield above it all. There were no cinematic dogfights, just calm, calculated decisions. And the tanker crews? They flew predictable tracks in an unpredictable environment, extending range, extending options, extending time. Without them, the architecture collapses. Technology enables. People execute. Why this moment matters. What happened on February 28 may represent something larger than a single strike. It may signal a shift in how high-end wars begin. The visible part was kinetic, but the decisive part was invisible. The F-35 disrupted coherence. The F-22 erased uncertainty. Together, they compressed the timeline of conflict. Penetrate, blind, deter, strike, defend, all within one operational cycle. If that system worked as designed, then this wasn't just an airstrike. It was a demonstration of how fifth-generation architecture changes the first hour of war. The bigger question, but here's where it gets serious. Wars don't end when bombs land. They evolve. Adversaries adapt. So if this is how the first hour now looks, how do others counter it? Can layered air defenses evolve fast enough? Can drones overwhelm networks? Can electronic warfare disrupt the data flow? Or has the balance fundamentally shifted? That's the question military planners around the world are asking right now. Because the real story of February 28 wasn't the explosions. It was the silence before them. The radar screens going dark. The sky already controlled before anyone realized a fight had begun. If you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe for more deep analysis on modern air power and defense strategy.